Hi, welcome to episode 31 of The Corner of Knit and Tea. I'm Laura, also known as Fluffy K on Ravelry, Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at The Corner of Knit and Tea, which is where this episode's show notes will be. I have an Etsy store called The Stash Buckler Adventures in Yarn, which is where you can find my handspun yarn. And we have a Ravelry group called The Corner of Knit and Tea, and if you haven't come over and checked us out, please do. So hi, how are you? Things are going well here. As you can see, I am still in the bedroom as opposed to the craft room. It's still a little bit messy in there. We are continuing to move things around, and we have a pickup on Wednesday from a local organization who will take used furniture and clothing donations and whatnot, and so we are still right in the middle of gathering everything so that we can send it with the pickup. So things are still a little displaced, and I'm still working on getting things back to normal. So I decided to record in here today. I almost went and recorded outside. It is another beautiful day. We have had an absolutely stunning week. It has been in the 60s and 70s and just beautiful during the day, and in the evening we have opened up the whole house and let the breezes flow through, which is wonderful after being closed up during the winter. And spring has definitely come. I can hear the frogs outside in the creek and just sort of the evening noises, but it is not kind of gross and humid yet, which is what it usually is in the winter here. So it has just been a wonderfully gorgeous week, and I am trying to remember to savor it because pretty soon it's not going to be that gorgeous again until fall. So we'll take what we can get. So otherwise, it's been a pretty good week. I had a super productive week and finished off some things, which I'm very excited about, and we'll get to those, which also means it was time to cast on some new things, and I am contemplating a bunch of new projects. But that is material for segments to come. So I will start with what I normally start with, which is what I am drinking. Today I'm trying a little something new. This is a sample that I got from the Republic of Tea catalog. As I told you, if you sign up for the Republic of Tea catalog, it comes about once a month, and there is always a free sample of tea in there, so you get to try all kinds of things. And this is an organic turmeric ginger green tea. And I have to say, this is totally experimental for me because this is not something that I would ever pick out, and even in having it brew, it's I'm not sure it's going to be for me. So this is definitely an experimental tea today. And I am having my tea in my brand new Poppy's mug from the National World War I Museum. I picked it up last week at Mrs. Wilson's Knitting Circle, and they are celebrating the centennial of the Great War, because World War I was the World War back then, and they are celebrating important events or commemorating important events from 2014 to 2018, and have designed this commemorative mug, which I just loved the first time I was there, so I picked one up. So I am having ginger turmeric tea in my Poppy mug. That is a lot milder than it smelled in the kitchen, and so I have to say I like it quite a bit more than I thought I would. It's got a really good ginger taste to it, and as I said, it's a green tea with ginger and turmeric. And while I'm not sure that this will be something that I would go back and buy, I do have to say I like it a lot more than I thought I would, so that's a plus for the tea. That brings me to what I am wearing, and most of you will probably know this one. This is the Color Affection Shawl by Vera Valmaki, and I knit mine in Madeline Tosh Tosh Merino Light in the colorways. The light blue is Bloomsbury, the darker blue is Baltic, and the brown, the lovely, lovely brown, is Glazed Pecan. And this is warm and cuddly, and I don't super need it today, but it's 55 degrees out, so just a little bit of a chill, and so I pulled it out. It was just looking for something new to show you, and found it. And I'm also in the process of, when we bought new furniture, my husband bought me a second dresser to store my knitwear in. So I am in the process of finding all the knitwear and bringing the ones that I want to into the bedroom and stacking a full dresser full of knitwear, which I'm super excited about. And I will probably take some pictures and post them to my Instagram account, so you'll be able to see more there. Before I get into the rest of the podcast, I thought that I would go ahead and do the giveaway. As I mentioned last time, I hit 400 subscribers on YouTube, for which I am immensely grateful, and I wanted to do a little giveaway to commemorate that. And oops, I forgot to open the bag, so please excuse the crackling. I showed you last time a beautiful braid from Southern Cross Fiber in the Mountains of Mist colorway, and actually the lighting is even better today. I think it shows it much better. And I asked you to leave a comment on last week's YouTube video, and I got 51 comments, which I dutifully transferred to a sheet of paper, and then I ran my random number generator, and the winner was Debbie Hyde. So congratulations, Debbie. I couldn't tell from your comment whether you wanted the fiber or whether you wanted me to spin it up for you. So please contact me and let me know. As I said, I am Fluffy K on Ravelry, or you can email me at thestashbuckler@gmail.com. And if you just would like the fiber, please send me your address. If you would like me to spin it for you, please let me know. Also send me your address, and it will probably take me about a week, and then I can get that out to you. So congratulations, Debbie, and thank you all for your wonderful comments. I really, really appreciated it, and I'm so glad to know that you enjoy the podcast, and I appreciated questions and comments, and I will talk a little bit about that in coming segments. So I will move on from there to what I have been knitting this week. Last week I told you that I was going to have to take a slight break from hat knitting because my mother had requested a baby gift, and I knit another Mario, which is Mario the Artistic Rabbit by Jenna Krupar, who goes by Retro Lemon on Ravelry, and I had used some hand spun of mine and finished a rabbit. So it's hard to tell. It is a teal with lots of blue and purple, and he's got his signature ears and a little face, and I absolutely love this rabbit. And he also has a little poofball tail, because who couldn't love a pom-pom tail? So this little guy is going to go off in the mail to my mom today, and it is for a cousin's, one of her, probably her mother's cousin's great-grandchild, so she just asked for a little something, and it was pretty easy to whip this little guy up, and I just love how they look with their faces. This is a great pattern, nothing too hard. Certainly if you have hand spun, this was some of my earlier hand spun, and was not terribly consistent, so it was perfect to use in a toy. So hopefully Mario will be loved in his new home. The next thing that I finished, and this is a big one, is the Leftovers cowl that I have been working on. I finished it in, took me 11 weeks. And I roughly came out with about, I think when I measured it yesterday, I came out with between 1,900 and 2,000 yards. Basically, I just weighed it and sort of approximated that 100 grams of sock yarn is about 400 yards, and so I just applied that ratio to get, it came out to 1,960 yards of sock weight yarn. So that's just a guesstimate, but it is done and it is gorgeous. I steam blocked it yesterday, and then I grafted the seam together right here between the red and the green, and you can't really tell, which is the whole point. So the last sections that I did, I'm trying to remember where I left off. Probably, was it here? So I did the gray and the pink and the green and the pink, and then I did another sort of black and green and a little chevron pattern, and then I did the waves, which I absolutely love, and then 2 more geometric patterns, and I am done. So I am grafted and I am ready to be worn, which of course now, like I said, it has been very warm the past week or so, so I don't know when I'll be exactly wearing it. I still think my favorite section is probably the birds on the wire, although the wave section is pretty cool too. I really do like that one. So that is the Leftovers Cowl by Wendy Johnson. A wonderful, wonderful knit full of riotous color. If you are interested in practicing your color work to get better at it, this would be a fabulous project, or using all of your leftover scraps. I could probably even be talked into doing it again, although not right away. But it was great, great fun, and I am just so pleased that it is done. I will be taking glamour shots this afternoon, and then posting my progress. This was actually for the Harry Potter knit along. This was my owl ordinary wizarding level in potions, which was combining all kinds of different colors together. So I could not be more pleased with this. Like I said, I'm just showing you all the little bits and pieces. I love it, and I won't say that I can't wait for it to get super, super cold so I can wear it, because I'm definitely feeling that move towards spring, but this is going to be wonderful next year when it's super cold. So that is done, and with that, my needles are clear, which is the first time that has happened in a really, really long time. I had started a Cozy Memories blanket, which hasn't seen much work. I was crocheting that, and so I will be working on that a little bit more now, especially now that I am done using all the semi-solid scraps for the cowl, because I didn't want to use a ton of those until I knew exactly how much I was going to use for that. So I think I have a whole bunch of variegated scraps, and then I have all my semi-solid scraps gathered together, and that will be a project that will see more work, although I don't know how often I will bring that and show it to you. I'll just have to see how I make progress on that. So I am excited to pick a bunch of new projects. I will say that this week I will continue with hats. I am going to knit my charity hats. As I had said at the beginning of the year, I am trying to knit at least 1 hat a month, a child's hat, to be donated to a local school that serves an underserved community. And I was trying to knit about a hat a month so that I would have a nice collection come October, November, when it starts to get cold, so that I could donate them at the end of the year. And I have a few patterns that I'm looking at, and some leftover superwash wool to knit some hats, and that actually ties nicely into the hat along that is going on in the Corner of Knit and Tea group in the month of March. For that, you craft a hat, and that can be knit, crochet, woven, anything you might want it to be. It just has to be a hat. You finish it, post a photo of the finished object in the finished objects thread, and at the end of the month I will draw for prizes, and I said that I would announce the prize today. I believe the first prize is going to be a $25 gift certificate to a store of your choice, the only rule being that it has to have an online presence so that I can buy a gift certificate to that. It could be an Etsy store. I could buy you an Etsy gift certificate. It could be a tea store. It could be another yarn store. Like I said, the only rule is that it has to be a store where I can buy a gift certificate online and send it to you via email. And I will see if I'm going to have any other prizes. I haven't decided yet, but like I said, that will be a $25 gift certificate to the store of your choice. That could also be patterns on Ravelry if you so chose. So get back to those hats. Like I said, I will be crafting at least one more, if not a couple more this month. The next thing that I talked about previously was Pi Day, which was yesterday, March 14th, and it was the day when the first 5 digits of pi would line up, 3.1415, so March 14th, 2015, and actually you could take it further and go out to 9:26 and 53 seconds. Well, the first time that came around yesterday, I was spinning, and I wanted to try and get my pie shawl on the needles before the second 9:26:53, and actually I'm not even sure that I made that, but a while ago I posted 2 different shawl patterns on Instagram and asked for some feedback, and the results were about 50-50. So I ended up going, I loved both shawls, but I thought that one would be quite a bit more wearable than the other. So that was how I ended up choosing what I did, which is the Heliotaxis Pie Shawl by Renata Brenner. I just had to look up her name to make sure that I got that right. And I am knitting the pie shawl, which calls for about, I want to say 16 or 1700 yards of yarn. I am knitting it in, I have 2 skeins of Squoosh Fiber Arts in her Superwash Lace. And that is 100% superwash merino, and the colorway is, as you can see, raisin, and it is a complex brownish pink, and I don't know that the colors are going to be picked up super well on here, but it is, like I said, a brownish pink, and I have 2 skeins of it. The other one is wound up already, and I cast on, and I did do just the smallest section of my pie shawl. This is rows 1 through 15 and the center circle. So, and this, just for those who are not familiar, a pie shawl is a circular shawl. Usually you start at the beginning and work outwards, and it is labeled a pie shawl because there is a mathematical formula for how you do your increases in the shawl, and that is modeled after the mathematical equation for the circle, which involves pi. So this is going to be my Heliotaxis pie shawl, and I hope to get some more work done on this tonight. And like I said, it's Squoosh Superwash Merino Lace in the colorway Raisin, and that is knitting up absolutely beautifully. It's knitting up very kind of brown with just a pink tinge to it, and I just really, really love that. And this will be a longish term project because one does not knit 1600 to 17 or 1800 yards of lace super quickly. So that will, even if you're me, so that will be an ongoing project in the next several weeks. I do have a few more projects that I'm going to start. I did not bring them with me today because I wanted to sort of get a little further into them to be able to show you something. I am knitting a sweater for a yarn store as a sample, and I will bring that with me next week and show you that. Right now I need to go ahead and swatch for that and see how my swatch turns out, and then I will probably start on that this week, so I will bring that to the next podcast. And then I selected a fun skein of sock yarn and a sock pattern to get another pair of socks on the needle to fill my new sock drawer, which I will also post a picture of on Instagram. I took one of the bureau drawers in the new dresser and dedicated it to socks, and it is about half full, which means clearly I need more socks to fill a sock drawer. So that will be coming up. You know, I just realized that I forgot to bring my current handspun, so if you will hold on just one moment, I'm going to pause briefly here and go get the handspun yarn. And I'm back! Last week I showed you 2 braids from Three Waters Farm. One was a sort of a rainbowy colors with pinks and blues and greens and purples and browns called Damask, and then the second braid was a kind of bright red braid, bright red pink braid called Cherries, and I asked what you thought about whether I should ply them together or ply them separately. I thank you so much in the comments for last week's episode. So many of you gave me your opinion, and I have to say that the opinions were very, very split. It was probably close to a 50-50 split. Every time I thought that I had an answer, I'd get more do it the other way. So I decided to go ahead and ply them separately. So those of you who said separately, you won that debate. So I finished spinning and plying the first, which was Damask in those beautiful colors, and that came out beautifully. It is, like I said, there was a teal, a green, a pink, a purple, kind of an icy blue, and it came out beautifully. My guess is that I got well over 300 yards of a sport weight. This is a Polworth silk, so it is super soft. It is not 100% done drying yet, so it is going to be poofy and wonderful, and I am super, super pleased with it. And thank you to those of you who weighed in on what you said. I haven't decided whether I am going to keep this skein or whether the skein is going to go up in the shop. It is still a little bit damp, so I need to wait and see what the final weight measurements, pictures, everything look like and make my decision. So, but that is the finished braid from last week, which means this week's spin will be the cherry braid in Blue Faced Leicester. So that is what I will be working on this week, unless the winner of the braid asks for me to spin it, in which case I will be working on this one this week. So you will see one of these two next week at the podcast for what I have been doing. So that brings me to the end of this week's podcast. Thank you so much again for joining me for a little bit of tea and a little bit of knitting and spinning. And I hope you have had a wonderful week and weekend and that you have a wonderful week ahead. And I will say, as I always do, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye!